Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a juicy Q&A. Charlie has finally decided I'm allowed to sit on the bed, so I'll just move over. Basically, I asked you guys, tweet me, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, any way of messaging, carrier owl, carrier pigeon, me your questions of anything you want to know about me, and I will answer them. So that's what we're doing today. Also, really quickly, we just hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel yesterday, and I am just like, WTF, what is even happening in my life right now? Thank you guys so much. There is going to be a 10,000 subscriber giveaway. It's hot in here. I actually have it sitting right there, the big prize. There's going to be 3 winners for that giveaway as well. But we are still in the middle of doing the 9,000 subscriber giveaway. So we are not going to be starting the 10,000 subscriber giveaway until May. It will be after May 1st because the 9,000 subscriber giveaway ends on May 1st. So if you guys want to be entered for that, it is a Morphe palette and brush set and brush cleaner, another Morphe palette, brush set, brush cleaner, and then a Kylie Cosmetics collection with Morphe brushes. So those are the 3 prizes. There's going to be 3 winners, and the video for that will be linked down below. So go watch that because the rules are slightly different now. So if you want to be entered for that, you have to watch that video. Anywho's, let's jump into the Q&A. Also, because I had said like, oh, I'll give you an extra entry if you ask me questions, I got a lot, so I'm probably not going to be able to answer every single one of them because that would literally take me ages, but you will nonetheless get your extra entry even if I didn't get to your question, which I'm really sorry if I didn't. So question number 1 comes from Sean. I know I'm gonna butcher this and I'm so sorry, I'm terrible at pronunciation. Sean Jing, there's a J in it. What is your favorite makeup brand? That is so difficult for me because I don't really shop by brands. I know some people are really loyal to like Estee Lauder or to Maybelline or something like that, but I'm just one of those people that I'm loyal to products. So like my Stila Soul palette, I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best palettes out there because it has shimmer and matte and warm and cool tones, and so like I said, I'm more loyal to products, not brands. If I absolutely had to pick a brand, I would probably say maybe something like Estee Lauder because it's such a huge brand that there's a lot to choose from. Yeah, also sorry, I think I hear my neighbors out there. I have to have the window open because it's so hot. But yeah, I would say if I had to 100% choose, maybe Estee Lauder because it's just such a big brand. There's so much to choose from. Question number 2. Do you have any oh, it's from Arling with a G after the N. Do you have any travel plans? For us, I really want to go back to the island of Kauai. We loved it there, had so much fun. We stayed at the Hyatt. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. I would also like to go to Europe, mostly the UK, France, and Italy, possibly Germany because that's where my dad's family is from. And so you just feel that connection. And then Dawn's family also is German and French, so, and then Irish, and I think on my mom's side we're like Irish and English, so I'd like to go to Ireland as well. But mostly, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, sorry, my sister's texting me, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, I want to go to England the most because I know so much of that history, and I studied history in college and loved it. So I would love to go to England and just all over Europe. I'd also like to go to Australia, but the problem is we do have 2 dogs, and so it's really difficult for us to find somebody who can dedicate the time that we would need for trips like that to stay here with the dogs. And then also this year, one of our goals is to buy a house, which means we have to work a lot because houses here where I live are extremely expensive and almost unattainable. And so this year is mostly dedicated to work projects because, like I said, we want to buy a house and we need money for that. So we don't have any upcoming travel plans right now. I would really like to do something. I think that sometime later this year, maybe in the fall, I might go visit some family on the mainland, do like a family reunion. We usually try to do one a year, but we didn't do one last year because my mom actually came here. So I think this year, probably doing it in the fall is gonna be easiest just because it's a little bit cooler and also a little bit cheaper because I do have a big family, so we can all travel and meet someplace and have some fun times over a weekend. Question number 3 is from Justine12, and she says, my family and I will be in Hawaii in August. Can I meet you? Absolutely, you can meet me. I would love if any of you guys are coming to Oahu to DM me on Twitter, like, and be like, hey, let's meet up. I would 100% do that. So I live on the island of Oahu. The state of Hawaii has a total of 8 islands. If you're coming to the island of Oahu, which has the area of Waikiki, Honolulu, North Shore, all of that. Well, I mean, every island has a North Shore or else it wouldn't be an island. But yeah, if you're coming to this area, for sure, hit me up on Twitter, DM me, and we will 100% meet up. Question number 4. I think this is number 4. I'm gonna have to stop saying the numbers. Next question is from Kelsey Lopez, and she says, how old are you? I recently turned 30 years old. I say recently, it was like 6 months ago. It was back in October. My birthday is October 27th, and I thought it was gonna be like a huge life crisis. It wasn't. It was actually really calm and felt kind of like in a way, a letdown, like anticlimactic, because you're expecting like this huge, like, why am I 30? But then it wasn't like that. So I was like, okay, it's just another day. Although I will say I don't really care. I don't really like saying I'm in my 30s. I miss saying I'm in my 20s. The next question is from Chelsea Marie Richter. How did you meet Don? What took you to Hawaii? What's your dream vacation? Where did you go on your honeymoon? And when are we going to see your little brother again? So, how did you meet Don? We actually met on the mainland in Redding, California, which is where our other house is that I was talking about in the vlog the other day. He actually sold my mom some land, and that's how we met. And then what brought us to Hawaii is Don actually is like kind of from here. He's been here since forever ago. So he was like always like, oh, we got to move back to Hawaii. We got to move back to Hawaii. And so this, I would say Hawaii was kind of like our honeymoon because this is immediately where we came. We didn't do like a honeymoon. We just came straight here and bought a condo, and we've been here ever since. So yeah. Next question, what's your dream vacation? Basically, I would say taking the train through Europe. So I have this like romanticized idea. I don't know if it's actually real or if I'm like just making this up in my head, but I would 100% love to fly into Dublin, stay there, and then I want to take the ferry, not fly, I want to take the ferry from Dublin to England and just basically drive all over England and Scotland. After watching the Michelak vlog, I feel like I have to do the Scotland 500. And then from there, I would like to take the train into France and then just take the train through all of Europe. I have to say, it's always been a dream of mine to go to Russia. I love, love, love the old Russian architecture and just all the history there. I'm not 100% sure if that's something we're going to be able to do, but I would love to just take the train, have no plans, no hotel bookings or anything like that. I just want to basically have a little backpack for myself, a backpack for Dawn, and we just check into hotels and check out of hotels whenever we want. I would also love to rent an apartment in Florence and stay in Florence for a month, because Don's nephew, who's not really his nephew, but he just calls him uncle. That's a thing here in Hawaii. Everyone calls you auntie and uncle. So anyways, he did that. He's a pilot for Hawaiian Airlines, and he stayed in Florence for a month and said it was like the best thing he'd ever done. So I would love to do that as well. And when you're gonna see my brother again, I don't know. He's currently in, hold on, Louis wants in. Okay, so my little brother Matthew is currently in Alabama. That's where my grandma's at, and he and my mom are visiting my grandma. And so, like I said, it'll probably be in the fall when we try to get together. Rebecca M said, when are you going to have kids? I honestly don't know. It's one of those things that I really definitely 100% want to do. I would love to have one of my own and adopt one as well. So it's not something that we are going to be doing right this second, just because we are so busy. And because we don't have a house, we live in a condo. That I know people have kids in apartments and condos and stuff like that all the time, but I just feel like there's nowhere for them to run around. And I'd like to have a house where they have a dedicated room. And I know everyone says there's like no good time, but I just feel like I would really like to, because I'm a little bit obsessive about organizing and stuff like that, I need things to be a certain way. So I would say when we have a house. Question number, oh my gosh, I don't know what number. Jennifer Berkowitz says, okay, we know Dawn doesn't partake in your channel, so do you guys share passwords for phones or computers? And who is the one person you can tell anything to? Do you believe in love at first sight? So Dawn doesn't partake in my YouTube channel or blog or anything like that because he doesn't understand it. He thinks it's odd. And it's so funny because he does not see my obsession with it. Like, I love watching vlogs, and I love watching other people's makeup channels, and even like tech channels. I'm obsessed with tech channels. But it's funny because I'll try to show him something and he 100% is like, okay, why are you showing me this? So he doesn't get it at all. I don't know, I think that he thinks of work like a normal job, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's hard for him to understand. And so that's why. And then also because of clients, he doesn't want them knowing everything about him, and you know, just because the personal privacy factor for him, just because I don't know, he thinks it would be strange to like meet a client and they'd be like, oh yeah, I saw your wife making you dinner last night. So yeah, that's why. As for passwords and stuff, none of our stuff is actually password protected. Like computers and whatnot, he can get on my computer anytime if he felt like it. To get into my YouTube channel and stuff, he's able to as well. He has seen some of my videos, he still doesn't get it. Although he does like watching back my vlogs. Because he's able to see like the dogs when they were puppies, and when we do stuff like when we went to Kauai and stuff like that. So he does like the watching back of our like personal family time moments. He thinks that's fun. Let's see, who is the one person you can tell anything to? So that would be Dawn. I mean, we literally have no secrets. I could say anything to him and he could say anything to me. And then also like my mom, my sister Laura, there's like no judgment in our family. We pretty much share everything. So yeah, it would be those three people. And then, do you believe in love at first sight? I don't know if I believe in love at first sight. I believe in lust at first sight for sure, and like at first sight for sure, but love is complicated and messy, and we see it so often when people feel like, oh my gosh, I love this person, and then they end up divorced after their first argument. I feel like to really love somebody, you have to really know them. And to really know them, you have to go through some shit with them. Like, you can't just like meet them and be like, oh my god, I'm in love. So I definitely believe in chemistry and connection and all of that, but I think to really actually be super deep in love with somebody, not love them in the sense that you don't want something to happen to them or anything like that, like a family member or something, but to actually be in love with someone, I think that you have to go through some stuff with them before it can be like really solidified. So yeah, I hope that answers it. Okay, now we're getting into the juicy stuff. So JB asked, and this was actually back in December that she asked this, and I'm just getting around to answering it. What was your worst date? My worst date, and actually I haven't had a lot of worst dates. Anyways, my worst date was, I was dating this guy, I'm not gonna say his name in case for some random reason he or his family are watching. And I was living in Alabama at the time. Oh my gosh, I have so many stories about this guy, it's ridiculous. Anyways, my best friend, Bethany, was like, oh, let's do a double date, blah, 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 because she wanted to date his friend, Daniel. And I was like, okay, yeah, we can do that. So Bethany, Daniel, me, and this guy, we go to this restaurant in Alabama called Igor's. Nice restaurant. I mean, not like super, super nice, but nice little restaurant. And we were all doing Jaeger shots. And I don't know why, but my boyfriend was like taking it to the next level. I don't know if it's like the competition, drinking, something like that, but we were just having a good time. Anyways, what does he do? Does way too many, does like 4 or 5 shots. He says to me, I'll be right back. And he stands up and literally threw up right there. I was mortified. Like, I can't even tell you how mortified I was. So in that moment, I literally thought to myself, why am I dating this guy? Like, why would I do this to myself? So what I ended up doing, I got up from the table and I walked outside and I called a cab and I left, and I never looked back after that moment. So that was very good times. Okay, so the last question comes from Yelena1 fan. How old were you when you lost your virginity, and did you feel pressured? So I wanted to include this because it is a juicy Q&A, but also because it's something that should, I think, be talked about, especially with younger people. So I was 16. I 100% would not recommend it, just because I honestly feel like, looking back, it's not something that any 16-year-old is actually ready to handle, like the emotional and sometimes obviously physical, because you can end up pregnant or with an STD or something. But there's so many consequences that come from it that it's just, nobody's actually ready for it at that age, I feel like. Also, I mean, there's no judgment if you do. I 100% don't judge that. Obviously, I did it. But looking back on it, it would have been better to wait. It's not something that I ponder and think, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But it is something that should be really thought about. And then also, you should really think about the person you're with, whether or not it's a good idea. I was lucky enough that it was with somebody that I really liked. We had been like on and off for many years, and we basically grew up together, and it was a special moment for both of us. But it's not something, like I said, that I would recommend for anybody else out there, just because I can say from living it that it was something that should have been waited on. As for did I feel pressure to do it? No. I think it's just one of those things when you get caught up in the moment sometimes. There's also a lot of people out there that do feel pressured from their boyfriend, from other girls at school, from other guys at school. There is a lot more pressure, especially nowadays, because everyone seems to think that everybody must be sexually active, when actually statistics show that teens who are sexually active are actually declining now in comparison to like the last 20 years. So yeah, I think that if you're thinking about doing it, please, please, please don't, or at least give it some more thought. It's something that it should be special. It should be with somebody that you really care about. It shouldn't be a willy-nilly thing just to get it over with, because it is something that it's a moment you will remember forever. It's a moment that you will possibly end up regretting, especially if you end up pregnant or with an STD. And like I said, there's a lot of emotional baggage that comes with it as well, especially if at the end the guy isn't responsive in the way that you want him to be. So meaning like you're like, oh, I love you so much, and he's like, well, this was fun, I'm out. So definitely give it some thought. If you have a good relationship with your parents, I definitely recommend talking to them about it. I was lucky enough to have a good relationship with my mom. So yeah, like I said, I didn't feel pressured, but I honestly wish that I would have waited a bit longer. So there it is. I think I'm lucky enough to have experienced a lot of things in life that I didn't receive like heavy consequences from. But if you guys ever have any questions, like advice questions or anything like that, I'd be happy to share them with you. I don't mind sharing. I know some people think it might be oversharing, but maybe some of my mistakes is something you guys can learn from. So that is it for the juicy Q&A. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. You can leave any questions that you might want to know, or video requests or anything like that down in the comments down below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!